Gattis here. Jump right into it with questions.
It's a big turnaround in the passing game. Give us your biggest takeaways on Tyler and the receivers.
Tyler played good. Obviously, just starting out in rhythm. And I think that was the biggest thing, just starting out confident with a few completions. Obviously, everything that we've done in the past game at that point, he's done all year long. So he had extreme confidence in what to do and how to do it. And you just got to start the game with confidence. Once he gets in rhythm, as any quarterback, that's a very important piece. And so we were pleased with that aspect. And obviously, we've got to continue to grow and move forward from there.
How much of an adaptation was there in the entire approach? Because Tyler talked last week about having more joint meetings with you and Coach Ponce. And so, without giving away too many trade secrets, what were some of the things you guys may have figured out?
Well, just making sure that, that he felt confident, make sure he felt confident what we were doing. Everything that we've done, we haven't done anything new. So it was really just kind of making sure that we kind of calmed him down and kind of rallied the troops around him. And so I think that's very important. Going back, reminding, last week, went back, pulled out a lot of plays that we had in the game plan of what we've done in training camp, showing them, these previous reps, hey, here's what we've done, here's where the ball is going, versus the exact same look. And so there was a lot of carryover and a lot of familiarity in the game plan of what we basically do in practice. And so he felt extreme confidence from there. Then it just goes out. I don't want to, let's not paint this picture for him that something he was doing wrong, because even in the games before, he's gone the right place with the football. He's made great decisions. Just sometimes it has been a tip ball, drop ball here, there, or interception. And so you've got to sometimes reestablish that confidence in not necessarily is it decision making, as it more so into just execution. And he did a really good job of that on Saturday as far as going out executing his assignment.
Josh, you guys have run the ball pretty well, I think, the first 3 weeks, and then just the last 2 weeks. I know maybe the overall numbers aren't great, but yards per carry is really more what it's about. What are you sort of seeing there?
Yeah, we've got to get more out of our run game. Obviously, very disappointed there. I felt like we kind of lost our identity a little bit. Probably about 3 games in, and you look at specifically, these last 3 games that we've lost. We obviously ran the ball 3 games ago really well and lost that game. But, that's an area for us that's important, because we threw the ball way too many times on Saturday. You don't build championship teams, you don't win that way. Throwing the ball 50-plus times a game, you've got to have the ability to impose physicality and control the game with the ground. And, there's areas we just got to improve. We've obviously got to get a little bit healthy there. We've had some injuries take place, whether that's been at the running back position, O-line position, that have kind of, impacted our ability to run the ball. But we've got to just continue to improve. We got to cater it to our personnel. We've got to figure out what our guys can do at this point, and we've got to get the production and most out of it.
Josh, the Texas A&M game, it was a physical ball game. Is there any possibility that those guys just exited that game physically beaten up to the point that it's impacted their performance since then?
Well, I think overall, when you look at our team, not having a very deep team, I think also presents challenges as far as the season goes on, fatigue, injuries. We've had our fair share of injuries on the offensive side. I don't think there's any secret to that. We're not a very deep unit when it comes to that. But, every man has got to understand that the next man has the opportunity. They've got to step up and be prepared. You're going to start seeing some new faces, some new roles being increased for some of our players. And that's the approach that everyone has to take. We've just got to prepare the next man and have them ready and for their number to be called. But there's no doubt, obviously, 5 games into the season, physicality is going to happen. That's what happens with good teams. You got to continue to play stronger as the season goes on because the season is long. College football is a long thing, but what we're going through is no different than any other teams going through. We're just missing some significant pieces.
Tyler spread the ball around, I think, to 9 different pass catchers. How big was that? And also, how big was it from a confidence standpoint that he could learn to trust them more, I guess?
Well, it's really predicated based on taking what the defense gives you. Now where we've got to take the next step, right, is we've got to get more than what the play gives us. And that's the biggest challenge for us kind of moving forward, is whether that's in the run game or the pass game, right? Get more. Just don't catch the 5-yard hitch and make it a 5-yard hitch. Just don't run through the hole and make it a 5-yard run. We've got to find ways to allow our players to give more than what they're giving. And so, Tyler did a great job. He did a great job, obviously, executing on Saturday. He was smart with his decisions, made some good throws, and then some receivers made some really good catches. So I think ultimately, when you see that chemistry start to gel together, whether it's a good throw, good catch, or whether it's a bad throw, bad catch, or a good catch. But you want that to kind of go together. You obviously want to eliminate the drops. I think that's still an area we always want to go through every game and eliminate drops. But ultimately, you're seeing a lot of young guys, a lot of new faces start trying to gel together, and I think that's a positive sign.
Josh, the offensive line situation and their progression, obviously they were challenged in the red zone. They have been at the goal line last game. What do you see happening there? Why is that?
Very disappointed. And let me say this, that falls, I'll take full credit and responsibility, because that's 3 games in a row we've got stopped at the goal line. And that's not who we are, and that can't be who we are. We've got to develop an identity and a mindset that once we're on the goal line, we can't be denied. We've got to score with our man up front. We've got to run over defenders at the second level. We've got to be more physical. Obviously, we've got some challenges from a physicality standpoint with depth and health. But that's an area where you can't be denied. When the ball's on the 1 yard line, there's very few choices you can make, but the choice you can make is to impose your physicality on your opponent. Obviously space is limited as far as throwing lanes and throwing room, but we got to punch the ball in the end zone. We can't have 3 games in a row where we get stopped or denied at the goal line. That's just unacceptable, and we've got to improve, and we're going to put a huge emphasis in that area moving forward.
Josh, you guys on that goal line stand lost, 2 offensive linemen. Scott Dennis came in, Logan Zapapolo came in, and then Usman Traore came in for a little bit too. How confident are you guys in those guys step in if Jakai and Justice are out for a longer period of time?
Well, we have to be. We have to be, and we have to prepare those guys for those opportunities. And obviously it was unpleasant to see. The injuries go back-to-back plays because it affects us when we don't have as much depth from an offensive line standpoint. And we've got to get some guys back healthy, get some guys back fresh. But ultimately, that's the game of football. You got to deal with the adversity as much as you deal with success. And so, we can't hold our heads down. We've got to move forward. We've got to prepare our backup players. And I think now guys are going to take a little bit different approach because they see how thin we are, whether that's in the running back room, the O-line room, the receiver room, that, you're going to start seeing some guys that maybe started the season as backups start preparing themselves as starters.
And similarly with Elijah out for the year now, obviously I'm sure you guys are expecting more out of Jaleel. How have you seen him kind of improve? He's obviously a very talented pass catcher. How have you seen him improve in blocking as well?
Well, for Jaleel, we got to continue to improve his body, right? Obviously, we want to continue to increase weight throughout the season, increase strength, get him ready from a physicality standpoint. But now it's just executing at a very high level. Every rep in practice is so important. Obviously, Jaleel's a true freshman. Now he's thrust into a big-time role. And obviously made some catches for us, executed really well for us. On Saturdays, obviously some things that he probably won't back, but that was his first real game experience. And so now you're thrusting some of these young guys out there, and they've got to prepare themselves. No longer do you have that freshman tag on you anymore. Now you're out there as a starter, and people are going to expect and demand that you play at a level to be able to hold your own and the consistency of the offense.
Josh, what challenge do you see at Virginia Tech, Lane Stadium, and the whole bit?
Well, yes, Brent Pry is a tremendous football coach. Really good friend of mine. I've had the pleasure to work for him for 6 years, so I know him personally. One of the best defensive coordinators in all of college football over the last few years. Robert Marv, who obviously serves as their defense coordinator now, played for us at Vanderbilt at the time, and so he's got a ton of familiarity with what they do defensively. And Brent Pry brings a very aggressive style defense, blitzes quite a bit, very sound. You see the improvements he's made towards their defense this year has really been tremendous for them. And so we've got a tremendous challenge. Obviously to handle pressure. Obviously a very high pressure team. They bring blitz from right to left, up the middle, all over the field. And so we've got to be poised. We've got to be able to handle pressure. We've got to be able to block movement. And that's going to be the biggest challenges for us.
Colbie Young didn't play much heading into this game on Saturday. He had 3 consecutive catches. Could you speak more about his development from the time he arrived till now and possibly carving out more of a role?
Yeah, Colbie's a guy that obviously he was probably one of our last additions to our roster this summer. Got here in July and obviously had to come in from junior college ranks. Everything that he came in learning was new for him. Just getting acclimated to the team, obviously learning the process. And then obviously he kind of had some bumps and bruises along the way from a health standpoint throughout camp and early part of the season. But finally now getting him back healthy and you know, just looking for a guy that's going to go out there and create a play on the ball. You know, to see him go out there and make an attempt on the ball and provide us something there, created a little bit of spark for us. And so obviously, you know, that bit of confidence that he displayed is going to increase his role. You know, I'm excited about, you know, what Colbie can bring us. I think that's an area where he can really make an impact. He's given us a big body that attacks the football. And so playing to his strengths is going to be very important. And so, you know, you saw him in earlier in the game. Obviously, he makes a play later in the game. And, you know, as you continue making plays, you continue to increase your roles. And you know, that's got to start, obviously, throughout the week in practice. It's got to carry itself over for the game. But very pleased with Colbie's performance on Saturday.
Coach, we didn't see more for Coach Gattis. Just Keyshawn Smith, he didn't play a lot of reps. Was he dealing with something with the game, or how's he doing, or what kind of limited his reps last game?
Keyshawn's fine. Keyshawn's, you know, obviously throughout the game, you know, Keyshawn serves an important role as our kick returner. So took a couple tough blows in kick return. You know, on Saturday, kind of got a little bit banged up, but obviously, you know, that's a challenge for us also from a receiver standpoint. We got two receivers, obviously serve important roles for us: kick returner, punt returner. We got to play through it. You know, we don't have many players, man. We're very, very thin. So we got to play through some of the bumps and bruises. We've got to be able to contribute on special teams. You know, when you look at the skill on this team, you know, we just offensively we don't have a ton of bodies, and so we've got to find ways to grind through it. And you know, obviously, you know, Keyshawn got a little bit banged up, but we're just gonna have to continue to push forward.
Coach, the offense needs to play with more pace and tempo on Saturday. Is that something that you think really benefits the overall rhythm of the offense?
You know what benefits the overall rhythm of the offense is just playing clean, successful football. You know, you look at our first series, right? Can't have a snap infraction, right? That totally just blows your whole series in half. And so, you know, when you're playing, you know, in sequence together, and obviously you're playing in rhythm, you know, I think that's important. You know, I think obviously maintaining. I don't think first downs has been an issue for us. Has it been creating the bigger chunk plays and scoring touchdowns? You know, we've been able to move the ball consistently all year long, but we got to get more. We got to get more. We got to win the one-on-one broken tackles out in space. We've got to beat defenders deep. We've got to win our individual one-on-ones across the board. And so, you know, that's really the focus for us. It's not necessarily is it a tempo or standpoint, because we've been averaging a high volume of plays per game. We just got to get more out of what we're getting and to continue to push the envelope further and further.
All right, Coach. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Josh.
We'll have Coach Steele in here shortly.